My side of the story. In June, my wife of 19 years said she no longer happy, and if nothing changed, she wanted a divorce. This was the first thing said, but really long before that we had shut down communication between us. She dove into exercising and I dove into an online game. After counseling with no progress, she asked me to leave and I did so. I actually bought the house that we had our 2 kids in before moving to a much larger house. I basically took a few heirloom items and left her everything else. With the help of my family and friends, I moved in the new house in Feb and we were divorced in April. I tried to stop the divorce, but she was not interested in doing so and I let it happen. It took me until 2 weeks ago for me to start healing myself. For 6 months my house was a cluster. I did laundry and dishes and such, but I had pictures that needed to be hung on the dining room table for every day of those 6 months, along with other clutter. After I decided to try and open up the lines of communication, I found out she had a mutual friend of ours spend the night and she had been dating him for a month or so already. I was extremely hurt by the whole situation, and it was stated that it was none of my business what she was doing in her personal life. Since there are kids involved, I can't say I totally agree, but to a certain extent I agree, so I'm trying to leave it alone. I told her a few days after that I'm still interested in a slow reconciliation, which to me is talking and perhaps spending some time together. That was 7 days ago and we have basically talked to some degree each day. I'm hoping it is a start, but I don't know, and I'm constantly thinking about her and us. I do not want to pressure her and let her have her space, but it is absolutely trashing me. I'm trying to keep myself busy and out of the house because it is so lonely there when I do not have the kids. I'm also trying to pull myself away from the online game, which has been my safe haven, time passer solution, but I realize it is a waste of my life and now want to share my life with my ex-wife again. I have been working out and have lost 27 pounds in just over 5 weeks. That is a 10% drop. I am getting more active outdoors, and yes, it was WoW that I played. I have been cutting my gameplay way back. When my fog lifted, I realized I was wasting away my life sitting in front of a computer screen. My ex has been living in her own world since I moved out over 6 months ago. She still says she doesn't understand why everyone just can't be friends anymore. I think she should try and understand that actions speak louder than words, and most of our friends are looking at how she is living her life instead of accepting what she says. But she is free to make those decisions, and I'm getting stronger every day. The largest bomb to date hit her last night, and that involves my family. My daughter's 13th B-Day is coming up, and my family and I have made plans for the party and dinner, which my ex is not invited to attend. Many long-standing traditions are starting to change, and I think she is realizing some of the benefits of being married to someone with close family ties is no longer available to her. I think this is just the prelude to the holidays coming up in the next few months. Last night I attended my first divorce group session and had an absolute ball. The past 3 weeks I have been trying to figure out what went wrong with my marriage of 19 years. I was talking with my friends that she had confided in last year and dug up old dirt. Then I would try and change her mind about trying to reconcile, to no use. Worst few weeks of my life. Last night I thought just sitting and talking about what happened to people that haven't a clue about your life and what you have gone through makes me at least at peace. I had made things so bad between my ex and I that she said she would only discuss subjects about the kids and nothing else. This morning I sent an email to the 2 people I had been getting my information from and apologized to them for what I had put them through the past few weeks, and that I was going to stop and focus on today and nothing about the past. I just let it out there with some views I have about how my ex has been acting and my feelings. At the end of the email, I addressed my ex and said, "This email has nothing to do with you. It is for me apologizing for what I have put them through these past few weeks, and I heard you loud and clear. We were done." I sent the email to the 2 friends and her. Well, lo and behold, she responded to the email and said, "I disagree with some of your comments." I said, "Sorry, those are my feelings and how I see things, so I'm not getting into it." It felt so good. I don't want to reconcile, but I do think since we have 2 kids involved, we need to be cordial and not absolutely hate each other. I think I pulled her a little back to the middle, so I accomplished my task today. Now for tomorrow, until who knows when, I won't ask her stupid little questions like "How's your day?" and let her go be who she says she wants to be, and I'll continue my journey to healing. So, I have decided that the best way to make it through the day is to make sure I'm not home alone as much, so tomorrow I start my first day of volunteering at the local food bank. Hopefully that will keep my mind off of my ex and meet people at the same time. Should be very fulfilling knowing I'm helping out instead of sitting on my butt in front of the couch. I have been dating a girl since October. We talk, text daily, and see each other around 2 times a week. This is where I get off base or uneasy. I believe she wants to increase our time together, but I like things the way they are. I'm not sure how to approach the subject. She is the first girl I dated since divorced. I like what we are doing, but just feel that the odds of the first person out of the chute per se is extremely rare. Kind of worried about hurting her by saying anything, but worried if I don't then I make it worse. I'm having dinner over at her place tonight. My intention is to be as open and honest about where I'm at and how I feel about her and us. I'm positive I'll fumble at some, but at least she will be aware of my feelings and confusion, uncertainty. I think that is how I can sleep easier, knowing that she can make her decision on what is best for her. I've got no idea where it will all go, but maybe I don't need to know right now. I will let you know how the conversation goes or if I chicken out. I feel like a little teenager boy right now. I'm a grown man, dang it. My ex asked me if I could start helping to pay for daughter's school lunches this morning. She was having some expense troubles. I refused and told her I thought that was covered in the monthly support payments. I said I was not going to sign up for additional monies on a regular basis, but did not want our 2 kids to not eat because she couldn't afford to give them money. If she was short in the future, please let me know. She receives over $12 per month in support, if that makes a difference in your minds. I told her no, but since it involves the kids, I want to be careful. I know I don't have control over what is said or done at her house, but I'd like to keep the impact on the kids to a minimum whenever possible. I have made it a point to not ask her how she spends her money because I think it is an allocation issue. Once the money hits her checking account, it is difficult to determine which money is spent on what. She works full-time and gets a steady amount of money every 2 weeks from there. So that is a thing I just avoid if I can. I didn't intend for this to move into a question about how she spends the support money, but just wondered if anyone thought lunch money fell outside child support. I think the majority right now would say that support does cover lunch money. Heck, if she made them, they could pack a lunch. Now where would the money go if I started paying for school lunch and they packed? I will ask, point her in the direction of supplemental support revolving around the lunches if she continues to push the issue. Basically, I'm surprised she asked in the first place. In addition to my $12 monthly child support, I pay for their medical insurance and 50% of any copay. On top of that, I pay 50% of any extra activity and private school tuition. I paid 100% last year, so I think she is starting to realize she is on the hook this year for the other 50%. Those payments are due in April. I'm not complaining about the status quo, but pretty stuck in the mud when it comes to changing. Adding more. I have never asked for proof of the activity fees, horse, uniform costs, and given the check easily and quickly. Just something about this morning and asking for lunch money really got to me, and I felt was a little over the top. I guess I've turned the corner of always trying to make it the easiest for my ex, and this is an example of that. She probably has already made many budget changes, but I think she must have missed this one, and it needs to address it some other way. Our oldest turned 16 this month and has been talking about driving. I have already told my ex that the custodial parent picks up the car insurance. She may be feeling that pressure as well. I guess my point is we both have made sacrifices through this, and not once did I ask if she could reduce the child support because was having a money issue. I took it as a given that I would pay because that is my responsibility. Not that she has had it easy, but she got to avoid all the costs of moving and establishing a safe, comfortable environment for the kids because she stayed in the house. Maybe a little credit for that would be nice, but I can live without it. I will stop going down that path. I'll continue to hold my ground about lunch money and try to hold back any new pushes from my ex. I think each situation is different and each requires some thought. This is life we are talking about, and I don't think you can have a blanket no because things do change all the time. I'm doing my best to earn that statement from my kids someday, even though I wasn't there 100% of the time. That they realize that I was still supporting them through this current situation as well as their lives. I was a little surprised that my 13-year-old had no idea that I was giving her mother money each month. Not that she needs to know. Part of me saw that as a great job done by me and my ex, that we were somehow able to let the innocence of a 13-year-old stay away from the financial impact of divorce. My worry now is that her mother's finances troubles are becoming more apparent and I won't be there. To me, the divorce's impact on the kids is the worst. I can control how I deal with the change in my life, but I can't control theirs. The best I can do is provide a good environment for them when they visit me. Stay active in their lives, be open and honest with them, and keep my end of the financial responsibility that was struck at divorce court. If I'm able to do that, I will be proud with myself. She has now started to ask me to help out with getting them places they need to go, like shopping or extracurricular activities on her nights. which I have no issues with because it is like an extra day or time with them. Just venting, but it was her election to be a single parent, not mine. I'm trying to cut those last few feelings I have for her and wish she would just not ask. On the other hand, I hate that the kids would be in the middle of something they had no control over. I realize they already are, but I'd like to make it as manageable as possible for them. Just kind of pissed, I guess. Over the weekend we both attended a mutual friend's party with our new mates. My ex had never met my GF and sat right down next to her and started talking to her like they were old lost friends. What the hell, my GF handled it well and we talked about it afterwards, but she was a little uncomfortable to say the least. My top issue to deal with is my finances, which I really need to nail down. I still have anxiety over and have taken some baby steps but need more productivity on the issue. Other than that, I should be fine. I just can't quit thinking about how my life would seem to be better if I was still married. I can't remember the bad parts as much. I guess that is what I need help with. I need a better mantra or something. I thought maybe trying something like if you're single and you're happy clap your hands, kind of a spin-off of the kids' song, but it is a little catchy. It just hasn't been helping. I've also been trying to get more golfing in with the friends, spend quality time with the girls when I have them. Spend some time with my girlfriend, then I think maybe I'm spreading myself too thin and need to retract some and veg more. But when I veg more, I tend to think of all the things that I should be doing like laundry, dishes, house maintenance, etc. Just a vicious cycle. I think, maybe I need to get more of a schedule where I say Monday is kid night, Tuesday is parents, sister night, wed golf night, Thursday girlfriend night, or something like that. I do feel I'm stronger and getting better. I'm just tired of thinking. Homemaker is probably right. I'm overthinking myself. I'm trying to make decisions today by thinking about how they may impact me in 2 years. 2 years, hell, if I look back. I wasn't divorced 2 years ago. I do know I'm getting stronger, and here is why. My philosophy when talking to my ex has always been to just deflect any incoming missiles from her and not fire back. Well, today I sent one across her bow. She likes to go and watch her new BF play volleyball at a bar across town, which is like 25 minutes away via interstate. This last Thursday she took my 16-year-old daughter with her and let her sit at the bar until midnight to then drive her home. To me that is poor judgment as a parent, and I called her out on it. She came back firing at me that she didn't consider the location a bar, and the reason my daughter drove him was because they saw like 10 cops on the way to the bar and she had been drinking some. The location has the word bar and tavern in the name. My points were that I was worried about my 16-year-old in a bar where 20-somethings are getting drunk, and I didn't think she should be in that environment, and thought it was a lack of good judgment on her part being the parent. Long story short, her last email said she was no longer going to continue the conversation because frankly she was fired up about it. I'm stronger now because history would have said I would talk to my daughter and tell her that it was a bad idea to hang out in a bar at her age, and I didn't approve. If her mother wants her to go again, tell her no, that dad doesn't think it is a good idea. Instead, I went right to the source and hopefully solved a little of the crazy my ex has found. Maybe I'm wrong, but a 16-year-old girl should not be in a bar watching her mother's BF play volleyball. I would think the majority of parents would agree. As much as I try to blow away the clouds to see sunshine, I still have bouts with sadness and emptiness. Sometimes they can last a week or more. This bout has been at least a week. I was venting my feelings the other night, and the best way I could describe myself was hollow. I really do not have much feeling inside other than some that upset me because I wasn't busy. And that makes me feel lazy. That process cannot possibly be good. It has to stop at some point. I have to figure out something. I'm in such debt that I think about 24 months from now when my oldest drops off child support and then beat myself up for looking too far in the future. In 24 months, I'll be pissed I wasted her HS years thinking about money. Viscous cycle. I guess. I told the girl I'm seeing, I go through the day wondering if the kids are having a good day or if there is food in the fridge for dinner. On days I'm not busy, I try and figure out how I can fill up the rest of the nights in the week to get to a weekend. When the weekend comes, I just kind of coast through it and the process starts over again. And now I've added a second person, her, to this mess I call myself. It was a long talk and she was supportive. She thanked me for sharing. She questioned where all this was going. I don't know where it is going and told her so. I want to be as open and honest about myself and where she fits in with that. I think she appreciates it, but also hurts a little to hear. I was talking with a close friend last night about how I've been doing and how things are going for me. I told him so far so good, things are starting to turn around and I'm actually feeling pretty good these days. He asked, "Do I talk my ex?" I said no, nothing other than when she wants money and topics about the kids, he said. That was sad, that after 18 years of marriage in less than 18 months you don't talk anymore. I tried to explain that we have both taken different paths, and as long as the kids were okay then we didn't have anything to talk about. She made the decision to walk through life without me from her on out, so I have no desire to get status updates or details about her journey. So, I'm wondering if that is what other people think. Is it sad that you can spend 18 years married and over 20 years together and then not talk about everyday problems? My take right now is no, I don't currently have any desires to know what she is up to. That may change, and I do have a hole in my soul. Being because of the divorce, but I've been working really hard to heal. I guess for me not talking to her just makes me feel better. Maybe not better, but headache, pain avoidance. Maybe in time I can heal over some of the things said, but not right now. I thought about this over the weekend. I guess what started the silence was when I wanted to talk about what happened to try and get clarity. She would take one sentence out of a few paragraphs and just pick me apart. Most of the time it was out of context, but man, she would just run over me and back up. After a few of those I just said the heck with it. I don't need that, and she never really gave any answers anyway. Now it has been just over a year since those times, and I feel like I'm in a lot better place. No need to open those doors, and if the subject comes up again among my friends, I'll tell them my view and that they should try and get used to it. A divorce really impacts not only the two involved but the whole circle of friends. They were there when I needed to talk. I guess it is starting to become time for me to be there to help them along. My perspective is each of us truly travel through life individually. Along the way there are people that impact our journey. Your parents and maybe siblings, and then many get married but some do not. It is an individual decision to get married. If you marry, the marriage is two people that choose to spend the rest of their journey together. Or so we thought, but it doesn't change the fact that you are on your own journey. It just means that there is someone else walking beside you, but they still have their own perspective on the same events you both encounters. A divorce is one of the people choosing to leave and walk a different path. It can hurt, and that was the case in my situation. I wanted to continue walking my journey with my ex. She did not, and that to me is sad, but I couldn't change the fact, and after a while I quit trying. By thinking this way, it has seemed to allow me to let go of her and try to experience new things without her. My journey is now separate from hers as it was before we met. We have history or a past together that we can think back on, but our forward progress is now very much different from each other. I call that my healing, and like I said, it took a lot of hours to try figure out and develop that perspective. We each have our own ways. If you can find one for yourself, you will be in a better place than now. About a year later, I'm almost 2 years divorced and have been seeing a lady for about 18 months. I know everyone progresses at different speeds. I have been very open with her about my feelings and past, which I think is important. I have had some really high highs and some really low lows. Every day is a new one, and I try to remember that instead of pondering the past. My girls have adapted well, and I actually think that my divorce from their mother has had a positive impact on them. Go figure, they get a break from crazy land. For me at least, I found that keeping busy and trying to learn new things that I always wanted to learn got me through. After a while, sitting in front of the TV and ordering pizza wasn't cutting anymore. I still haven't received any answers as to why we got divorced, but the passage of time made me realize that waiting for one was eating me up and most likely never coming. What a huge hurdle to get over that was, and some days I'm not sure I have. Not sure how to wrap up, but PC only has 10% power left, so need to figure out something quick. My girlfriend, what a polar opposite of me and my ex. I'm an honest guy, probably to a fault. So, I come from a family who enjoy having some beers or drinking scotch or wine after work or at dinner or a few hours before dinner on the weekends. That was how I grew up and continue to do that now myself. Well, the girlfriend works for a nonprofit and she runs programs teaching med prevention to high school students. What a polar opposite. I love talking to her, and boy can she talk. She connects really well with my kids, go figure. She is teaching me a new method, perspective to talk to my teen girls, which I love. But there is also a hole I'm trying to fill still. I have chosen to not talk with my ex for anything except kid issues. We have mutual friends that I admire because they have been put in a tough spot because of our divorce, but do a great job of not picking sides. The hole is thinking about the days when we went on trips with them for the weekend or week and how much fun we had as couples and parents. I know they enjoy my girlfriend's company and conversations, but it is a long road to create history. Also, somewhat nice to start over. A strong story to show you guys what life can be like after a divorce. Short story 2. My wife and I have been married for 20 years and been together 23 years. We met our senior year in high school. Our marriage has been enjoyable but full of tragedy. Our first couple of years were rough like normal, but we had our first child after being together 3 years. Life was great. Until one day we got a call that our 4-month-old had been injured at our sitters. Very long story itself, but we'll keep it short. He suffered a traumatic brain injury from being shaken and is now totally disabled and lives in a care facility. How we made it past what we went through is beyond me. We just knew we loved each other and had to carry on. About 6 years into our marriage, she decided she wanted to get her nursing degree. Life was crazy as she went to school full-time, but we survived and she found a good job which helped us financially. About 10 years into marriage, we decided to try for another child. She ended up suffering a miscarriage. We were both again devastated. About another year later, she gave birth to our second son. Life was looking up, but we knew something was wrong because he wasn't able to breastfeed. Turned out he was born with a cleft palate, and upon further investigation he was born with a very rare form of syndrome. We were once again devastated, not knowing what the future held. He has some mental and physical disabilities that we have to deal with, but we have been lucky since things with him aren't as bad as they could be. Our lives have been full of stress and heartbreak. We never really get out much due to lack of support, and we just can't leave him with anyone, so we don't get to take trips by ourselves or even get out to dinner ourselves much. My wife has been diagnosed with depression and also has RA. She is on a lot of meds which affects her daily life. She has told me for about the past 2 years she wasn't happy. I wasn't exactly happy either, but I loved her so much I didn't want to give up on us. Our sex life has always had its good and bad, but had almost become non-existent. I finally asked her last week if she wanted out, and she said yes. I felt like someone ripped my heart right out of me. I was so hurt and yet mad. I asked her if there was anything we could do, like MC or anything, and she said no and that it was over. She isn't really even in love with me anymore. It's all I can do to function these days. Our lives are so crazy and anything but normal, and she said that is what she seeks. Normalcy. We had many plans and things we wanted to do in life, but she says that we will never get to do those things because we will always have to care for our youngest son. She feels this is best for both of us because if we share the custody, we will both get breaks and will be able to see, do and experience those things, even if it's with other people. I understand what she is saying, but I don't feel this is the right answer. I would give anything to keep her, but she says she is physically sick from the stress of our lives. She wants to be civil about all of it, as we will always have to work with each other for the sake of our young son. The thought of her being happy and doing the things we were meant to do together with someone else makes me sick. I love this woman so much, but I feel I have no choice but to let her go. She even made an appointment at an attorney so we could start our dissolution. We went on Valentine's Day of all days. We are currently trying to stay at the house until we can sell it, but it's been so hard. I am trying to be civil to her, but I am just so hurt over this. About a year later, I am currently 9 months into a relationship with, I would have to say, is a terrific girl. I am 42 with 2 special needs boys from my previous 20-year marriage. My oldest is severely disabled and stays in a 24/7 care facility. My youngest is mild and lives with me 50% of the time. She is 35 and has no kids but has 2 Dobermans and was married for 11 years. She is a really wonderful, attractive lady. We enjoy many of the same things to an extent. She is low maintenance and leads a fairly simple life. She doesn't make a lot of money, which is fine cause I am not real wealthy either, but do make a decent living. She has a great personality and loves me and takes care of me like no one I could have ever imagined. She is a quiet but pleasant girl that doesn't have to be the center of attention, which mirrors my personality. Bonding is great and never an issue. The worst thing about her is, she is a major homebody. I am not. We have actually only been on about 8 actual dates our entire relationship. It seems like every time I ask her to do something there is always an issue. She can never do anything through the week because her dogs have been penned up while she has been at work, so she has to be with them because they can't be trusted alone. I get my son every other weekend, so we only have 2 Saturday nights a month to go out, however. She has bad endometriosis, so her time falls on one of those weekends and she doesn't have the energy to go do anything. Which is fine, I understand that, once in a great while when we do go out to dinner and a little shopping. We always have a great time. I have just never been one to sit around the house and doubt I ever will be. We don't live together and have our own houses to take care, so yes, that does take time. even though I honestly feel she would be a great wife. I am just not sure her qualities would be enough to keep me happy. I feel like her dogs get the best part of her and me and my sons will always get what's left over. Not sure whether to stick it out for a while or end it and move on. Life is too short to let life pass me by. But I don't want to make a mistake either. Any advice? My comment. She is aware of my concerns. You guys got any advice for OP number 2? Comment down below, sub and bell, and after my nap, I'll start working on tomorrow's stories.